Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, November 21, 2023, lots of 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a Time for Change call tomorrow night, Wednesday, around 9 p.m. Eastern. Do not delude yourself by imagining your source to be some God outside you. Your source is within yourself. Give yourself up to it. Seek the source within and merge with it. Ramana Maharishi. We live currently now in a world that ignores many things. Ignores the fact that a supreme, divine, all-loving, intelligence lives within us. We've been programmed to believe we are spiritually disconnected and must fix our broken selves to feel whole and reconnected again. We don't realize it. Yet we are just used to feeling spiritually numb as we have been plagued every day of our lives by an overly materialistic society which is constantly seducing us with its glorified multi-billion-dollar hypnotic media programming. We have contracted a deep case of spiritual amnesia and have forgotten how to relax into our spiritual essence and find our own intimate connection with the divine. And you can feel it around the planet. It's really nothing new. It's been going on for a long time. This everyday ignorance of our spiritual nature is the greatest lie mankind is living today. It is the cause of every moment of suffering each human being is right in this now, on this planet, currently enduring. One may think this is a spiritual drought was created by mankind coincidentally and is not part of the grand divine design. Nothing is by coincidence or without purpose in this universe. This blind ignorance is within us all on purpose, so that we move more passionately towards a state of awakening. These intense levels of disconnection only drive us deeper inside ourselves to find our soul. Now, when you look at that statement and you understand that lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, we don't get it. Because had we have gotten it, how do you believe everything would be in this very moment? And the reason that we don't get it is because we have nothing to go on. It's a blank slate every single time we come into a new body. So we're really, for the most part, starting from scratch every single time we enter a body. This is one of the main reasons why we don't advance, why we are stymied and set in a position of repetitiveness. Well, it makes sense. I think we all know that when we come into a physical body, we don't have memory. So from a baby all the way through, till we leave the body again, we're learning from scratch. And really not, but We are. Because even though we've accumulated millions, trillions, billions, however many lifetimes and years in our years, that we have been at this. So, what is the true key for this civilization? To really ascend, to move itself into a much higher harmonic frequency. Because I'll give you an example. There's been a lot of talk about flashes and, galactic flash and central sun flash, and everybody will be warped into 5D. But see, if that were to happen, since we're not all on the same page, it would be devastating for the majority of the civilization. It would be like getting shock treatment every day for the rest of your life. Now, if we were all on the same page, then that would be very possible. But we're not. And the majority on the planet is not. But it doesn't take the whole civilization to lift itself into a higher vibrational frequency. It's just enough. It just takes so many on a daily basis. And it is a choice that we make to bring ourselves into higher harmonics, higher vibrational frequency of deep eternal love, gratitude, peace, joy, bliss, tranquility. We do that. No one else does it. No omnipotent power in the sky does it. We do it. And it's a decision that we make. It's a choice. Now, we don't make the choice or the decision consciously in most cases because we don't know. We don't have a clue as to what we are. This is why we have on the planet for so long conflicts and disagreements and anger and frustration. This is why. Because we have not discovered who and what we are and what we're doing. Now, many people know, what are we here to do? Do you know, if you ask yourself, totally honest with yourself, and you ask yourself, what am I here? Why am I here? What am I doing here? Well, we know the basics, that we're here to experience physical material life. Because outside of these bodies, we don't feel, we don't touch, we don't smell, we don't taste, we don't sleep. It's a totally different realm of existence by being in a physical body in a material physical world, which has been generated by pure consciousness and the collective conscious, all of us gods. That's what creates. Pure consciousness itself creates everything. It creates the planets, the solar systems. It creates the galaxies. It creates the universes. It creates nebulas, gaseous anomalies, you name it. It creates all that. Pure consciousness at the quantum level and beyond. And since we're, like I keep saying, we're not in a race. We're never in a race. It's like, we got to finish. That's the rat race. That's not the spiritual direction or understanding. And we know we have unlimited lifetimes. But see, the thought of that, when I say that, and people go, a lot of people are having lives that aren't exactly what they would choose to have. because they've manifested those lives, but they believe that because of circumstances, their lives are the way they are. In a way, that's not totally off base because they created it. Once we understand that we create everything in this life, we create the life, we create the destiny, we create it all. How many people do you believe on this planet know that? They implicitly know it. That they could say that I created my life. So whatever I'm experiencing, it is because I created the experience. I created the situation, whatever, so that I could experience it. And the reason that we don't know is because many of us aren't conscious to that extent. We aren't aware to that extent. And this is why we suffer. It's everyday ignorance of our spiritual nature. We live in a material world. Okay, we're in a material physical world. We all know that. But the ego mind has mastered us. And most of us don't even understand that we're here to master the ego mind. Well, how the heck do you do that? You do it by meditation. You do it by focusing on your breath and listening to the space between heartbeats. Being in a fixed statue, like a statue, in a comfortable position, and listen. That's all it is. That's all meditation is. And it's about silence. Peace, silence. When we go into the now in silence, all this crap, this garbage around us, doesn't exist. And it isn't an escape. It's just, it shows us where our true home is, within. You could go anywhere on the planet, you could have 50, 60 homes. Are any of them truly home? No. Your home. That's your home. You. That's why it's hard, it's difficult for some people to understand why people are lonely, because they can't. How can you be lonely when you have the God that you are within you and that you're plugged in to all things? You're plugged into all life forms because all life forms have God, your consciousness. We're never alone. We'll never, ever be alone. Loneliness is derived from ego mind. Being alone and loneliness are two different things. Being alone is when you go into meditation, you're alone. In other words, meaning that there's not people around you. You're not alone in the true sense of the word because you're the God. And the God is connected to all things. Everything and nothing. Forever, always, and beyond. And once you start to understand that and embrace that, then you won't ever feel alone. And being lonely is an ego mind insecurity. Okay? So when we interact with each other, we become attached. And we've all been attached. We aren't exempt from it. It's just an experience. So we get attached. And when we get attached, we lose our focus. And so what do we do when we're attached? We don't want to let go. We don't care to let go. You're going to let go. Why? Why is that? Because you fear losing. You fear that what or who you're attached to, that you will lose them if you let go. And it's like people say, well, maybe you're aloof. You don't care because you aren't attached. You can deeply love someone and not be attached to them. We get mucked up because of the fact that we become attached. But these are all things, these are challenges when we enter these bodies because we're programmed. From the baby stage all the way up to full physical maturity. And so when we're programmed it's almost like a repeat and repeat. It's like, every time we're programmed, but by the same stuff. In most cases, the core basic understanding is the same amongst us all. A little twist here, a little turn there, but it's mostly the same. And we do this lifetime after lifetime. Now, on the astral plane and the ethers, when you are no longer carrying a body, it's a whole different existence. You're anywhere and everywhere. You're plugged in, told that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. But the key here is, when you leave the body, if you haven't discovered who and what you are when you're in the body, you're sure as heck not going to know who and what you are when you're out of the body. Could it be that all of us somehow forgot? We forgot who and what we are. Okay? So we reversed. We went into the opposite direction of frequency. And now we're in the process of discovering and reacquainting ourselves with the gods that we are. Now, once we do that, then when we leave the body, we'll know who and what we exactly are. Pure consciousness. Pure love light energy, period. And some call that the God, or the One. And all of us are the One. All of us are Buddhas and Christs. Those are not really names, they're a definition of what? Enlightened being. Enlightened One. So we're all Christ, we're all Buddhas in these bodies. We're all omnipotent, supremely powerful, omnipotent, manifesting beings. And we're creators. Manifestors, creators. We create everything, create every single second that we're in these bodies. That's why when you wander, we all wander. When you let's say you're in meditation, you wander. Your mind goes somewhere else. And it's not like you're direct, you're not directing it, you're kind of lightly taken away. And then you say to yourself, okay, it's not an issue, I'll focus on my breath again and be in the now. Where we get tripped up is we get seduced into yesterday and tomorrow. This has gone on for millions and billions of lifetimes, where we're tricked into yesterday or tomorrow. So we wander off in tomorrow. You could wake up in the morning and just barely start awakening, start opening your eyes. You wake up in the morning and you're still in bed, and you've already started to wander off onto tomorrow, when you haven't even lived today. And this is how we get mucked up. Because we're projecting, we're going into tomorrow, which isn't even there yet, and we're in the now, which is today, and we go into the past, yesterday. And so we get mucked up. We get confused. We get stressed, pulled, stretched. Because we immerse ourselves in the material physical world, what do? We worry, we stress, we fear to different degrees and levels, depending on the situations that we've created. So you can really, on one hand, you're saying, this is phenomenally important for each and every one of us to discover. Right? It is. Do you desire to leave the body and start over again? But see, the key is you won't know anyway because you won't remember. So you learn now. You discover now. And you finally start to embrace the God that you are within that body, which shifts you and also accelerates your comprehension as to who and what you are. You're here to enjoy life. All of us are here to enjoy this physical, material life. That's it. To enjoy it and help one another. It's very simple. It's not complicated. But along the way, we get lost. And what you start to pick up things. Well, then it makes sense that humankind, mankind, humankind, Homo sapien kind, we've got so many different varieties on the planet. That we're literally programmed the same things every time we enter physical material world. So doesn't it make sense that we repeat things throughout the past and the now? That we keep repeating things. Information. Events. Whatever it may be. And all you got to do is just take as a watcher, you just take a look at everything, and you're not judging. Because you leave the ego mind alone, so you're just watching. And you can see how we as a civilization keep repeating things. It's a circle. And we haven't stepped out of the circle yet. If you look at the short history of this country, you'll see where we repeat things. And being asleep for so long, we forget who and what we are. We also forget that we govern ourselves, that we love ourselves, govern ourselves, think for ourselves, which is a good thing. And from time to time, we hire people to help us. Isn't that right? That's pretty much spot on. But we fall asleep, and we don't realize what those people do. And then when we do, it's a real challenge for us to correct it. And when you allow it to sink in, when this civilization stops deluding itself from imagining that our source is to be some God outside of us, that it's in most religions, out of 50-some thousand on this planet, that's exactly what is taught from childhood all the way to adulthood, where we experienced and have been educated over and over again, the same things over and over again. And that all of us are misfits in some way, shape, or form. using different words and different definitions, but all in all, is that we're all broken and we've got to be fixed, and that's just not true. We are perfectly fine. We are supreme beings, and that's the absolute. You imagine once the civilization understands that that's what it is, that there's nothing wrong with you. Now, from time to time, some of us will step out of what? The circle. What does that mean? It means that we don't comply. It means that we know, and we've discovered to the extent of saying, this is not what I want to do. This is not what I want to experience. Which is, in all intents and purposes, called the rat race. The people on the planet hurrying, scurrying, rushing, doing this, doing that. All trying to accomplish something. Always trying to accomplish something. Always. Drive, 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 drive. Push, 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 push. Strive, 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 strive. And that's what we've all been taught from the beginning. Now, doesn't it make sense that we are immortal supreme beings that never die, which are housed in these bodies, so to speak? Now, does it make any sense that we would be in a hurry? Does it? Well, we all know that we're immortal supreme beings. What's the hurry then? You just kind of take your time, lifetime after lifetime. And see, the veil or the closed doors are starting to open as the frequencies continue to increase, to ascend. Then we'll be able to peer into what? The astral plane. As we should be right now, all of us. But it will lessen this block, this veil of deception that's been going on for millions and millions of years, where we don't believe we can communicate outside of ourselves. Or someone says, oh, that's just all sci-fi hooey. And actually, science fiction has more truth than fiction. And we're all on the right path. None of us are off path. None of us can screw our lives up at all. Period, no matter how hard we would try. And you see, then you begin to understand, as you go deeper within, that anything is possible. You start to lose any limitations that society has put on you, right? Or that your programming has dictated to you. You basically break away from the bondage that is self-created, where these false prisons and doors and everything that we construct around us to protect our hearts dissolves. And we're kind of like footloose, fancy-free. What would you be doing right now if you knew implicitly that you were the God in that body and not that body, not the name, not your belongings, not your status, not your character, not your personality, but the God within? How would you be operating right now? Well, you would be in bliss the majority of the time. You'd be in deep eternal peace. Abundance would be free-flowing. Nobody on this planet would go without anything. You can have anything you want. And then after you understand that, then you'll start getting more selective. You say, I don't really need all this stuff. So then we become more selective, because we know that the great line of abundance is always flooding us. It's just that we've got this big barrier up, most of us, where it just bounces off. This lifetime, however, for all of us, this lifetime that we currently have, I believe, and I think many of you feel the same thing in your heart mind, is meant to be a deeply enlightening experience. Is there anything more important for any of us than knowing how to access our own direct personal connection to an all-powerful, unconditionally loving source of highly intelligent, creative energy that has the magical power to manifest anything our heart desires? There's nothing more vital to finding happiness in life than knowing one's spiritual connection. And nothing more exciting than a proven way to access it, which works every time. We stop ourselves. It's not a negative. It's releasing to know, and we acknowledge the fact that we stop ourselves. I don't believe that it is consciously. I don't believe any of us would say, I'm going to stop myself from abundance, I'm going to stop myself from happiness. And no matter how ridiculously stuck any of us feel about whatever it is in this material physical world, financial situation, relationships, health, sex life, future, there is always a way to reach freedom. Always. You just ask yourself questions in your silent time. You do it in your meditation. What stops us from being in communion with God, with ourselves? Do we have a relationship with ourselves, with the God that we are? Many don't. Many of us get so consumed with material physical world, we don't come anywhere near into spiritual balance. Do any of us know what it feels like when we're having a truly intimate connection with the God self, with who we are? And how often do any of us recognize and connect with the divine aspects of ourselves? How is our life different when living with this connection versus without it? People say, "Oh, it's too late. Too old. I'm too old. I've done it all, and now I'm heading into the elephant graveyard. I don't know when, but it's getting there." Right? It's never too late to connect. Even if someone in some ways wasted 75 years of their life on gluttonous, frivolous, mindless activities, feeling perpetually lost in a superficial life, God's source is still here. Door to divine's always open. God is waiting for every one of us to come in. And it's not arduous. You take one step towards yourself, towards the God that you are. And the God that you are will take 10 steps towards you. You take one, right? Your true self will take 10. We're in the process of redefining our relationship with the divine. And I can guarantee that your precious time will not be wasted. Whenever I connect with the divine, I first look into my heart rather than my head. At first, I would go in my head, thinking that was the way. But then later discovered it wasn't the way. Because we know, okay, that the head is so full of ideas about what God is and is not because of how we've been programmed. The head misses the real experience, feeling, and quality of godliness. And when the mind is quiet, meditation, quiet, still, and single, pointed in the now, we can instantly find that deeply alive spiritual feeling inside us. Why do we go with the heart mind? Because the God sources, it already exists within the heart and the core of our soul. And as we relax into this place, a timeless, deeply eternal, loving, conscious energy moves into us and relaxes every cell and fiber of our very being. Now, we have over 2.5 trillion cells in these bodies. That's a lot of cells. Now, to many, and there have been civilizations that basically did everything technologically, advanced themselves, to the point where they felt they wanted to go higher. And so there have been those who went on the search for, and this is interesting, as advanced as they are, they wanted to find out who and what the God was. There are civilizations that literally started doing this, and some are still doing it, when the whole time the God is within them. No matter how technologically advanced a civilization is, it doesn't mean that they're spiritual. That's why that God is the most mysterious thing in the universe. Perhaps because it is the universe. We know that God exists, pure consciousness exists, however you want to label this, in everyone and everything, including those people you think are deeply disconnected. Have you ever wondered how can such an amazing presence be so spatially close to us and still be so difficult to feel and see? So it'd be like trying to look into your own eyes without any kind of mirror. We look out at life through these tiny little black holes in our eyes, taking them for granted and not realizing they exist at all because they are so close to us. When something is too close to us, we are often unaware how precious it is. The same applies to noticing God. We are unaware of God. Since God is you, all of us, we are all gods, all supreme immortal beings that never die. That's close. That's why you choose, because we are unaware of God until we take a step back and look deeper into our own reflection in this great mirror that is all around us. Realization of the self is realization of God. It is not an experience of God. Rather, it is an understanding that one is God. Ramon Maharishi. It's a very true statement. Now, we all know that in the bicameral era in the civilization, they find that they figured that God was some fixed, stagnant entity, statue, right? But then we discover God is more like a mysterious, infinite energy than a fixed, stagnant energy. The great isness is instantly found. When we stop and feel into this eternal quality, which feels like we are always and forever here now. The issues, the isness, is our infinite nature. And this can only be experienced when we are living fully in the now, exploring life from a relaxed, trusting connection. I join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in from the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Do not do your ordinary daily routine today. Instead, mix it up. Do something completely out of the blue. Jump into this extraordinary moment of your life. Now is where you discover that you are divine consciousness. Relax. Don't be anywhere special. Being nowhere is the greatest thing you can do to start being now here. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, November 22, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And around 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on within you or outside of you.